Well, hello all my yoga friends, welcome to Got Yoga. I'm Chris Scott, and in today's video, How to Handstand Episode 2, we're talking about Shoulder Girdle Anatomy. If you haven't seen Episode 1 of How to Handstand, where we go over hand placement in handstand, you can go ahead and jump on over to that video first and then go ahead and watch this video. So in today's video we are talking about shoulder girdle anatomy, which is super important. We're going to learn how to stabilize and activate all the muscles of the shoulder girdle. And this is important because the shoulders are very mobile, unlike the hips, which are more stable. So we need to make sure that we are stabilizing them first so we do not injure ourselves in our handstands or any type of weight-bearing poses in yoga like chaturanga, arm balances, inversions. We want to make sure we're activating all the muscles of the shoulder girdle and properly setting ourselves up for success before we just go ahead and get into them. So we need to create a little more mindfulness so that yoga can be healing and strengthening and not have any adverse effects. So let's jump into this handstand tutorial today and go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Click the bell button so you can get notified when I post another how to handstand video, which I post every Monday. So if you click the bell button, you will get notified when I drop that video. Let's jump into today's video. So anytime our arms are overhead, inversions, this is for chaturanga, for, arm balances, headstand, all that kind of stuff, you want to make sure that you're activating all those muscles so that you have this shelf for your upper body. You're really locking everything into place before you get into those positions so that we know that later on we can be free to really enjoy our yoga practice and that we don't end up disliking our yoga practice because we were injured through it. So there's all these actions that we're going to be doing to make sure that we're activating all the muscles of the shoulder girdle. These are energetic actions that we're going to be performing. We're going to do one of them at a time, and then we're going to tie them all together. It'll be new at first, but eventually you're going to create this muscle memory, and it's going to be really easy for you to remember all these things. So the first one is that hand placement. So if you didn't watch the hand placement video, jump on over to that. But essentially, Hasta Bandha, pressing the hands into the earth. So you're pressing the ground away from you and you're really rooting through that index finger and knuckle and that thumb knuckle. So by pressing away, go ahead and bring your hands out in front of you and press. You're turning on the serratus anterior and it's a little protraction of the shoulder blades. The serratus anterior is over here. So if you bring your one hand underneath your armpit onto your side ribs and have the other hand out in front of you. Don't do anything yet. And just feel how it feels, and then go ahead and push the hands away, rooting through the index finger and the knuckle, and you'll feel the serratus anterior turn on. So that is the first cue, is to press, and that is the first action. So the second action has to do with your subscapularis. So first, let's figure out what the action is, and then let's find the muscle and see if we're firing up. So grab a block, bring it between your hands. Make sure that you can press your knuckles into the block and reach your hands out in front of you. And then what I want you to do with your arms straight out in front of you is squeeze into your pinkies. So it's this action of hugging in and down. It's the same cue as squeezing into your pinkies. And again, use that first action that we did. Press away and then hug in and down or squeeze into your pinkies. You'll feel that subscapularis turn on. Let's find the subscapularis. Lift your arm up so that you have your armpit exposed. Bring your thumb into your armpit and then bring your fingers behind you where that, above your bra, where you got all that back fat. Okay, so that's what you want to be grabbing there with your fingers, and you want to be grabbing that muscle there with your thumb and your fingers. And then reach your hand out in front of you, press the palm away first, that's action one, so press, and then hug in and down. Or if you're not understanding the hugging in and down, then reach your fingers forward and squeeze your pinky into the midline. So if there's a line here, squeeze your pinky towards that center line, or imagine there's a block you're squeezing into, and that's that action of hugging in and down. So those two actions combined, I like to say, is really pushing from the space underneath your shoulder blades. So the first action is to press through that index finger and that knuckle, and the second action is hugging in and down. The third action has to do with squeezing the thumbs towards one another, and what that's going to do is going to turn on the front of your shoulders, turn on your pecs. So action one, we press, root into that index finger and the thumb, turning on the serratus anterior. Action two is we hug in and down. That hugging, like a koala bear hugging a tree, squeezing your pinkies towards one another. Action number three is hugging the thumbs towards one another or firming the forearms together. And you're gonna feel your pecs turn on. So the front of the shoulder. So if you bring your hand to your shoulder and then you move the hand over a little bit at the top of your armpit, don't do anything, relax, shake it out, relax. And then go ahead and squeeze the thumbs towards the midline, firm the forearms towards one another. This is the midline, you're squeezing in, and you'll feel the pecs turn on. So we've got 3 actions, we got 1 more action. The last action has to do with just making sure that we've got a little bit of space in our chest and in our necks. So the last action has to do with your collarbones or broadening your clavicle. First, bring your hands out in front of you, relax everything, and then action 1, press. Action 2, hug in and down. Action 3, squeeze the thumbs together. And then action 4 is to broaden your clavicle. And like broadening your chest, broadening your collarbones, that's action number 4. So if you don't understand action number 4, slouch. And then when I give you the cue of broadening your clavicle, broadening your collarbones, that's action number 4. Let's go over all those actions a couple more times. Here we go. Press, hugging and down, firm the thumbs together, broaden the clavicle. And it took me a really long time to really understand how to really turn on all the muscles of the shoulder girdle. I really wanted this like technique to just be able to remember all that stuff and jump in to a handstand really quick. So I'm going to tell you my secret. So before I plant my hands down and get up into my handstands, I plant my hands down onto the earth, and this is what I imagine. I imagine that I am reaching through my ring fingers and my pinky fingers while I squeeze my pinky fingers together. So face your palms up, reach through your ring fingers, squeeze your pinkies together, and that's going to do all those actions. Turns on the serratus to anterior, the subscapulars, the pecs, and broadens the clavicles. So palms facing up, reach through your ring fingers. So reach your ring fingers away from you like there's beams of energy shooting through your ring fingers, and then squeeze your pinkies together. And that is what turns everything on and broadens the chest. So, and then you just go like this. Oh, palms facing up, and now you are ready to have your hands down on the ground. So you can either do that technique of reaching through your ring fingers and squeezing your pinkies together, or you can do those actions we were talking about. Let's try them all together. Hands on the floor. Here we go. Press, hugging and down, firm the forearms together, broaden the clavicle. Got it? One more time. Press, hugging and down, firm the forearms together, or squeeze the thumbs towards one another, broaden the clavicle. And now you're ready to get up into a nice stable handstand. All right, I'll see you all next week where we're going to go over some shoulder girdle stability exercises. So some exercises to really start to turn on those muscles of the shoulder girdle, turn on the forearms, and strengthen the wrists. We're also going to stretch the wrists a little. So I will see you next week.